Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to True Crime and Justice, where this is a home for the missing. And I will cover other cases of missing children or adults, but Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, that's it, say his name, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, has been missing now for what? Just under 2.5 years. Just under 2.5 years. He was 15 when he went missing. He's now 17. He'll be 18 on the 7th of December 2026. What has his parents done? When I refer to his parents, I refer to his mother and his stepfather, right? When I refer to his dad, to Seth, I mean his dad, his biological father. That is something no one can take away from Seth. And no one will take away from Seth. I don't care how people say, oh, well, I'm the stepfather, but I'll treat him like he's my own. Yes, fine, but he's not your own. He's your stepchild. And when something goes wrong, you should acknowledge that fact. That there is a father, a biological father, who is suffering with all this. Just under 2.5 years. His father has done everything. Right? His dad has done everything. He's thrown everything at this. Because all he wants is his child. All he wants is his child home. That's it. He don't care what they did or anything. He just wants Sebastian home and safe. He wants Sebastian to grow up having a life where he hasn't got to worry about anything. Hello, Anne. Right? So, he just wants the best for his child, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So, tonight we're continuing on from what we was doing yesterday. And that is, we're continuing the search. I can't be boots on the ground. I'm in the UK. I cannot be boots on the ground. The closest I can be to boots on the ground is Google Earth. That's the closest I can be. If anyone hears like a dripping noise in the background, don't panic, I haven't got a leak. My daughter brought up a water fountain for the cats. And you plug it in, put the water in, put the filters in, plug it in, voila, and it releases water. You just change the water every day then. So that's who we're here for. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He is still missing, contrary to what some people might be putting out. I did mention this a while ago, that apparently some people thought he had been found. He hadn't been found. And it was said to his father, to his dad, oh, I thought he'd been found. No, he has not been found. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers has not been found. No sighting of him, no trace of him, nothing. We've had possible sightings Has law enforcement done anything to chase those sightings up? No. And how do we know that? Because there was a sighting up in Bristol, Virginia, which law enforcement knew about, because the woman who reported it to law enforcement, and also reported it to his father, his dad, Seth. Seth and his associate, Tony Mathis, God rest his soul, went up there, drove up there, went to the local law enforcement agency. Oh, your cats go to the sink. My one cat sits there wondering, where's that water coming from? Where's it going? When we turn the tap on. Yeah. Yeah, they drink out their water bowl normally. They have got a water bowl as well, but I had to set the water fountain up in the living room because I've only got 5 sockets in the kitchen. And one is took up with the fridge freezer, one's took up with the microwave, one's took up with the kettle, one's took up with the air fryer, and the other one's got one of them plugins, scent plugins, which I love. Plus, it'd be an awkward place if I had it there, because it's right where I prepare my food. So it'd be great if I had a plug over the other side of my kitchen by the sink side. I could plug it in there, but I haven't got a plug there. So I plug it in the kitchen. They've been using it. Anyway, get back onto the fact. So he drives all the way up to Bristol, Virginia. He goes to law enforcement. Law enforcement knew nothing about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers being missing. Knew nothing about this alleged sighting. Nothing. That told Seth that law enforcement, Sumner County Sheriff's Department, or even Sumner County Police Department, Hendersonville Police Department, did not phone them up and ask them to check it out. No phone calls were made. Now, what's so hard in a fucking phone call? For minutes, it takes minutes to make a phone call and then for them to get back to you as to, yes, we had to look at the video, we'll send you the video. You know what I mean? Send them the video, let them check it out. But no, nothing. So that's how we know they are not chasing up all these possible sightings. Yet they will stand there, they will put out these press releases. They don't do actual press releases where they stand in front of the press no more. The last one they did was in April of 2024. They put out press releases when they're pressured to. Alright? And so they don't do nothing. Nothing. And I was listening to The Reckoning Co. again today. Now, she did touch up on about what law enforcement could be doing, and she stopped because she realised then, look, if I go any further, I could be letting out information that they don't want out there. So she stopped. So we will be listening to that one tomorrow night. There's 2 of them. So we will be listening to them tomorrow night. Tonight, we are looking at several videos that Silver's on the scene put out. One is about his co-workers, Chris's co-workers. And I agree with Silver's. I'm fed up of saying KP and CP. I'm fed up of it. When I talk to my family, I go KP, CP. And they look at me and they say, who the fuck are you talking about? Because I'm so used to saying KP, CP. I'm going to say them by the names. Katie Proudfoot, Christopher Proudfoot. I have got other names for them, but I won't say so. Anyway, so he was told by colleagues of his works where he used to work. He don't work there no more. Not when Silvers went there. He wasn't working there no more when Silvers went. And Silvers only went there by chance because he was heading somewhere else. And they gave him some information. And I knew I'd heard that information somewhere. I knew I'd heard it somewhere. And that was where. So we're going to be watching that one. Then we're going to be watching the one about the possible sighting at Walmart in Cleveland. Right? And then we're going to be watching the one where he goes, he's made 3 videos on that derelict house. But the best one is the third one where he goes, the second one, I think one of them, he does go inside, but he doesn't feel comfortable going inside the house on his own. So that's why on the third one, he's got people with him. So last night, it was mentioned, how did CP know Silvers was in that house on the third visit? He'd already been there twice before. Bear in mind that CP, he was living in the RV at the time, just across the road. He said he was back at work. Perhaps he was back at work. Doing what? We don't know. Right? Bear in mind, he'd have to go past that every day on the way home. He'd see his car there. So he knew what his car was like. So he probably saw his car there that day. Right? And that's why he reported it to the police. Because Silvers had already been there twice before. And he parks his car on the, like, he pulls it in off the road. But you can, the car is viewable from the roadside. So that's how he knew it was Silvers. He'd done 2 videos before, so he knew. He probably heard about, seen those 2 videos before. The third one. And on the third one, he saw his car there again. And that's when he moved to the police. But we'd just like to say a big thank you to Chris for that. Because if he hadn't reported Silvers to the police, right, law enforcement down there wouldn't have known about Sebastian being missing. So thank you, Chris. We appreciate your help in that. Because for what? I think this was in the July time. So you've been down there since March. On and off, you've been down there since March. She'd been down there on and off since March. And neither of you thought about, well, you know what? We should get local law enforcement in this area know about your son being missing. We should go and let them know. Do they know? We don't know. Which they didn't know, but you see, you didn't tell them that. So if the law enforcement hadn't come that day, they still wouldn't have known. They still would not have known about Sebastian being missing. That's how much you care about your son, isn't it, Katie? That you couldn't even go when your son was only a few months missing. Go. Well, not even a few months. You went down there at the end of March, around about the 23rd, 24th of March. So you'd only been missing just under a month. And you couldn't even tell that law enforcement down there about your son being missing. Even though the excuse you told Nancy Grace was, well, I went down there because I went with my husband because he was going back to work. But your husband hadn't got a job down there. His job was up in the air. Right? And then you said, and my son could be anywhere. Well, how is anyone supposed to know about your son being missing if you don't let them know? So, I know this is going back 2.5 years, Katie, but we remember these things. YouTubers are good at remembering things. We really are. We might forget sometimes, but then it only takes old videos, watching some old videos, and think, oh, holy shit, I forgot about that. Or it might just be going through their old notes they've made. Because we keep notes. I'm coming up to my 3rd book of notes on this case. I've nearly finished this book. And I only started this book when? Was it just before Christmas? Sometime like that? So, we keep notes. And Silver keeps... Oh, KP, if ever you forget, or Katie, if you ever forget how many days your son's been missing, just ask Silver's on the scene. He'll probably tell you down to the fucking minute how many days, how many hours, and how many minutes your son has been missing. I've managed to work it out to February, March, April, May, June. We're 2 years, 3 months, because we're not in June yet, or are we? Are we in June? No, we're not in June yet, because my grandson's birthday is on the 10th. So it's 2 years, 3 months we're coming up to. And we won't forget. We will never forget. 2 right hand, 2 right. We will never forget this lad. Even if I go to my grave covering this case, I will cover it to that day. And hopefully, Kylie on here or someone will be able to get me, because I've been knocking on every fucking mystic's, whatever door, for them to listen to me, so I can tell them what happened. Oh yeah, I'd tell them. So, anyway, before we go any further, just talk about my garden. My son come over today. He's finally lowered the blades. Whoop! And then it started to rain, so I couldn't go out again. Then it dried up when it was about 5 o'clock. I thought it was too fucking late now. Right, so if it doesn't rain tomorrow morning, I'll be out there mowing my lawn, because it's starting to piss me off. And I want to go down where my grandson had the weed killer and dig out that area, because you know what I mean, it's a mess in that one, in the one corner of my garden. Got a lot of weeds down there, but it's in with bushes and it's hard to get to without getting stung pricked by the thorns off the rose bushes and things like that. So I think I'll be wearing a hoodie when I go and do that tomorrow, so I can put my hoodie up so I don't get pricked in my head and all that lot. I did cut the rose bushes down, but I think they need to be cut down a lot more, yeah. So at the end of this season, I'll cut all the rose bushes down, so that hopefully we'll get new life in them. I was hoping we'd get some new life in it this year with me cutting. We did get some new leaves on it, but we've got no bugs on them. But it might be a bit early still. I don't know. Well, apparently, and we're heading for a heat wave up in Scotland. And a heat wave up in Scotland is anything over 16 degrees, 16, whatever it is, 16 degrees or whatever. Anything over that, and we've got a heat wave. So if we're in our 20s, it's like, holy fuck, can't breathe, it's too hot. But we're heading for one of them over the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, I think Monday, Tuesday. So we'll see. But I want to get my front garden sorted out. Really got to, and I've got to do a lot of digging. Like just underneath my window here, there's a lot of stones and whatever. There's not much grass there. So I want to put like a border thing in it. Dig all that over and then put some membrane down and get some slate. And my daughter's saying they've got this purple slate. 3 bags for £12. I went, where? She gassed it. I said, I'm fucking there. I'm going to dig that over, and once I've dug it out, I might even go up and get there and get the slate before I've dug it over. So at least I know I've got the slate ready to. I've just got to get the membrane then to put the membrane down and pull the slate on. Supposed to be having hot water going up to 20. Yeah. So anything over like 16, 18 in Scotland, it's like, we can't breathe. It's too hot. And if you blink, you're likely to miss it. But I want to get it done before Saturday. Because I've got my grandson coming Saturday afternoon. And he can help me with when I do the digging, he can help me with that. But I want to get the grass done before he comes. So, and my son said, well, it should get rid of the dandelions now. I said, oh, yeah. I said, all I see in my garden are the dandelion, like, you know, the stems of the dandelion. That's all I'm seeing is the stems. Because when we cut the lawn a couple of weeks ago out the front, my granddaughter doing it just hovers over them. So it just takes the eggs off them. So I've just got the stems of the dandelions. It looks like little aliens in my garden. The aliens have landed in my garden. But I have got to get that stuff that Michelle sent me. I'm going to see if I can get some of that. For your grass, and you can use it on your grass and it kills all your weeds. Yeah, this weather is crazy. Well, UK weather is always crazy. You know what I mean? Always crazy. That's why if I was to live in US, I'd have to live in a state where you had like the seasons. Like the summer, autumn, winter, spring. I couldn't move from here to the US and live in a state where it's just literally hot all year round. Even though they say it's cold, it'd be fucking hot for us. Anyway. I think this is the one I want to watch. Yes, this is the first one I want to watch. Right. And this one here on the screen is where he talks to some colleagues that Chris used to work with. And this, the reason I'm playing it, showing you this, is just in case there's anyone who has not heard of this case or believes that Chris and Kate are parents that we should feel sorry for. Okay? Because this tells you exactly what sort of person Chris is. Alright? So I'm looking forward to the warmer weather, so I can take my laptop out there, my garden, and sit out there on my laptop in the daytime while I'm doing a bit of research or watching videos and whatever else I'm doing to researching, whatever. Right? Because it's nice, I like to sit out in the garden. But at the moment, my back garden is a mess. I need to clean that up because they've been putting the fence up the other weekend. So there's bits of wood all over the place. Then I've got a fecking washing machine that my son said he's going to get the council to move. And I said, okay. I said, I'll go halves on it. When, I don't know, it's sitting in my fecking garden. I saw. Right? And then I've got some sunflowers, not the normal sunflowers. I was quite surprised. I picked the wrong sort of sunflowers up, didn't I? I picked up the sort of sunflowers that don't grow tall. They grow bushy with a big head on. So they don't grow really tall. So I've got to get at least 3 longish pots, 3 to 4 longish pots to put them in. At the moment, they're sitting in bigger pots at the moment. And they're sitting on top of my old washing machine. So, but I like sitting out in my garden when it's nice and tidy and whatever. And my grass is all cut short and my edging is all done. But I'm going to, if I can only do it on the one side of my lawn. Because on the side of my lawn that goes up the side of my house, the grass banks up into a hill. So when I edged it all a few weeks, couple of months back now, it's really quite deep. Goes quite high up. So I want to buy these edges that you put in that area and it lies flat with your grass. Right? So as the grass grows, it'll grow over that so you can just run your lawnmower straight over it. You don't have to keep edging it. But I can't do it on the one side because, as I said, that's where the high bank is. And it comes down to a low bank. So I could probably do it up to a certain point. But after that certain point, I couldn't do it. So I might figure something out. I might just put it up to a certain point. Because I think someone just plonked a load of dirt there and then let it seed over. Because it's like a little mound. Anyway, so we're going to watch this. I had a message off Jen today saying, good to see you back. I went, I haven't been anywhere. But I think what she meant was good to see you back with covering Sebastian. And my heart was always with Sebastian, even when I was covering them other cases. My heart was always with Sebastian. Right. But sometimes I have to take a break from Sebastian because it can be tiring. Because there's no information coming out. So everything we're doing is just pure speculation. And at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to show the faults. What KP is like, well, what Kate is like, what Chris is like, what some of the Katie are like, and all that lot. So we're going to listen to this and see what he says. Hang on, I'll get my credit up. So big shout out to Silvers on the Scene. This is an old one. But it's just relate to people and say, this is the sort of person we're looking at. This is the sort of person that Sebastian lived with. So let's listen to what he has to say.
By a co-worker of Christopher Proudfoot's. So I'm taking that information, I'm sharing it, I'm not going to share any names, okay? There's a couple of details. I'm not going to get too specific. I'll get specific enough you'll understand. But just to make sure, there's no blowback back to the person I spoke to. But here's the big thing. I'm going to take what I was told and then I'm going to put my spin on it, right? Someone says this and I'm going to tell you what I think about that. And that's allegedly, in my opinion. And I may repeat that throughout the video, but also taking what I was told is allegedly in their opinion. However, they interacted directly with him as they worked with him. So just want to throw that up there. So that's where we're at. And back to we will not forget you, Sebastian. That's a promise. You're going to see how relevant that is and what I'm about to share with you. So the job site, as you know, in my video of searching in Memphis, as well as yesterday's recap where I talked about Memphis, I really didn't even know I was going to go by the job site when GPS was taking me to my location to search. Did not know I was going by the job site, and there it is. And you see the cranes, right? And we know Chris was a tower crane operator, right? And so he worked on one of those cranes. Now, this is big. Information from the job site. Chris Proudfoot job site. Did you know? Because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I put the did you know in there because I don't think I knew any of these things. I knew things related to them, but you're about to see what I was told. I did not know this. And after being told these, I got very emotional, and I'll explain that when I cover everything I was told. But did you know? So as you listen to these things, did you know these things? Because I don't think these things are out there. And it's going to lead us right to, we won't forget you. The people that are out looking and searching for Sebastian, who are trying to bring him home and find him. But did others forget you? Did others forget you on the same day you went missing? Allegedly, in my opinion, yes, they did. So let's dive into it, right? Let's dive into it. Let's not waste any time. I watch YouTube videos and I go, why are you wasting so much time? Let's dive into it. And we're going to do it like this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this up here. And that is right here. And then I'm going to throw this up there right here. Okay, so here's what we've done. We're going to do this like this because I want to reveal these things to you as we go through. I'm going to keep Sebastian over here so we can see him. What did I learn? What did I learn? So here's how this came about. I made a visit to RV to make sure, an RV place in Memphis that I'd never been to see if Chris had stayed there. Based on where I was looking, it would make sense for Chris to stay there. It's the closest RV to the job site. While I was there, I learned a lot. Let's jump into it. I was able to speak to someone who worked with Chris, because Chris is not working there now. One of the questions somebody asked, I was talking to more than one person. Where's Chris now? I don't care where Chris is. I'm not worried about where Chris is now until we find Sebastian. And when we do, then we'll focus on that. That's your get justice part, right? Get justice. Let's find him. Let's keep the awareness alive and find him. So, what did I learn? Here we go. Diving in. Big. RV not at job site. So by coming by the job site for the first time and seeing it, my thoughts are you could not put, not just Chris, but anybody that worked there could not park their RV on that job site and come right out and work. There's really not room for it. So talking to the person, I said, hey, be here. Oh, no, absolutely not. No one can. Okay, so there were a lot of comments. Oh, Chris was at the job site, his RV. It was not. Not only was it not at the job site, Chris's RV was not at the Memphis park that I was speaking to. Okay? It's about 8 miles from the job site, 6 miles from the location I was looking at when I was looking for a possible body bag. Great, straight shot into the RV. From the RV to the job site, so it would make sense. And there are people that work job site that are discuss Yogi, Easy Days, and all these other ones, but this one, he was not there. Furthermore, the one thing I didn't discover, one thing I didn't learn, did not learn, is where he was the night Sebastian went missing. The thoughts were this, because I asked the question, the thoughts were, shady. Words I was told were this: person and would not trust anything he says or does.
Mm.
Would not trust anything he says or does. That's really not revelation, because we've all heard.
Right. I think it was that integrated with the WSMV4 on the Monday, where she seemed really, I'm aging, all this lot, upset. Good actress, Katie, good actress. She should have took a career up as an actor, right? I just got that feeling from him then. If everyone could have watched that one, the first time they ever spoke to anyone about this case was on the Duchess show YouTube channel, which was on the 3rd of March. But you didn't see their faces. You only heard them. So anyone can put on the tears and all that crap like she did that day. And I suppose everyone was feeling bad for them because your son's missing, you know what I mean? They're going to feel bad for the mother and father. But like I said, anyone can act. It's like me. If I wear sunglasses, right, I can lie through my back teeth. Because I can't see my eyes. I can lie. But if I haven't got my sunglasses on and someone asks me something, I won't lie, because I can't lie, because my eyes will give me away every time. Right? So when you're on a YouTube channel up on the panel, you can lie all you fucking want. You can be anyone you want on that channel. Me, I am me. I'm like this in real life. What you hear on this channel, what I say, how I talk, how I approach things, this is me. There's no ifs, no buts. It's me. Simple as. But they was not. And so when you're seeing them in that first interview, it's like, nah, sorry. Something not right there. Seriously not right. And I went over that interview, over and over and over that interview. So yeah, do not trust it.
Where we see him or where he calls into channel, how he's talking, this is allegedly in my opinion, but at the same time, I don't know Chris Proud. I've never met him. I've never spoken to him. All I have to go and be, and I've said this before. Go back.
Yeah. Why is it no sound? I've got sound. Hmm. Right, I'm gonna start play it again. Let me know if the sound is back. Because everything's the sound. To hear me, not the video, okay. Right, hold on. Right, I'll do it. Right, and I'll go back into it. I've just found that RV park in Main closed. Oh, just go this way. Right, it is a lot closer. That RV park is than Yogi Bear or even Easy Days. Literally, just across the highway. Not far from Memphis Zoo. So why you wouldn't use that place why is he going down to Yogi Bear, which is something like 24 minutes away, 24, 30 minutes away, when he's literally on the doorstep to his works at Memphis RV Park? I wonder if he's ever stayed there. Now, it makes me wonder, could that have been the RV park they stayed at? We know when they were doing the Nancy Grace interview, they was at Yogi Bear. I know that much. Because that was when they first went down there, right? At the end of March. And they had the interview with Nancy, I think it was on the 25th or 26th of March. So, I know they was down at Yogi Bear then. Because people were seeing their car there. So when Crime Time Buzz was saying, oh, I don't know if, I think it was somewhere else and blah, blah, blah. No, it was down at Yogi Bear because I remember people saying, coming on JRRs and saying they see the car there. The car was there. Both the cars. So, alright, I'm just getting this back. Oh, come on. This one. Come on, open up, you piece of shit. Come on. Right. Let me just share this with you again. Yeah, people was driving by. So we know when they did that interview with Nancy Grace, they was down at Yogi Bear. Because people was phoning in, writing in, messaging JLR saying, and sending in photos. And they drive past with doing videos going, where's Sebastian? Shouting out the window and things like that. Which I thought was a bit out of order, but just shows they was there at Yogi Bear. There wasn't at any other campsite then. There may be at other campsites now. So, that's it, really. Hopefully we can hear it again. Let me know if you can hear the video.
Chris operates. So what I'm saying is, you got to be clear-headed. You be sharp and focused. Says he wouldn't be doing this job. Let's give him credit. Evidently, he's sharp and focused, and he can operate one of these because this. I mean, he's up there. He's way up there himself operating this thing. But on this day, ooh, we don't want that revealed. Hold on. On this day, at 11 a.m., 4.5 hours. That's right, 4.5 hours after reporting his stepson missing, meaning three-way call with Katie, 6:30 a.m. Not only is he still working, he's still working at 11 a.m. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he was relieved because he was not focused. Not focused. Off. OFF. He was off.
Well, you're not supposed to leave the phone's a distraction.
Goes missing. So he was relieved. Chris wants to tell you, he wants to tell you, everyone listen, myself and anyone who will listen, that the reason he didn't get home till 1:30 or 2, leaving the job site at 11, I don't know if he specifically said 11, but he probably did, was because no one was there to relieve him. BS.
Thank you, Sylvie.
Allegedly, in my opinion, I've been told there were more than one relievers. There was at least one reliever and possibly two on the site that day. Come on,
Possibly
Chris.
2 people who
Let's
could
move
have
on.
relieved him. He had no
Arrived
reason to go up in that
6:30 a.m. Chris wants to make you believe 5:15. Why would he need to be at the jobs? Let's think about this for a second.
Why would he need to be that 5:15?
Why would a tower crane operator, no daylight is up, it is dark, why would he need a job site at 5:15?
He wouldn't.
I think you've seen some other creators go out there and see that others may show up, inside workers, drywall workers, many different types of construction people at 5:15. What I was told is there'd be no reason to be there before 6:30 a.m. And then you're going to start in your crane around 7. 6:30 is when he's reporting his stepson missing. 4.5 hours later, he's relieved. Why tell us 5:15?
Yeah.
Come on, Chris. Focus off. OFF. Unlike other days. I told you, give Chris credit. I will give people credit whenever I can. I'd like to give Chris a lot of credit. Chris, you're listening to this. Talk to me. Email me. silversonthescene@yahoo.com. silversonthescene@yahoo.com. You are making yourself unlikable. You are making yourself untrustworthy, shady, not to be trusted. Words and actions. Words and actions make you like that. Your focus was off, unlike other days. You ever watch Columbo? Columbo will notice when someone's focus is off. Law enforcement notices when someone's focus is off. To other cases, high-profile cases, just think about them. You'll hear on the media, you'll hear about law officials going and saying, hey, Jim, how was Bill the day his son went missing? Was he normal? Was he upset about his son? Did he want to find his son? Was that why he was off? Or was he just normal, like a normal day? Behavior and focus. This day, a guy who's very sharp, he has to be sharp to
exactly.
To
you got to be alert, haven't you, when you're up there?
This day, his focus was off, unlike other days. And we're going to end it with this, and we'll cover them all. This is the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just say I get relieved from my job, okay? Whoever it is that comes over and says, hey, man, we're going to have to pull you off. You're just not focused. Then you would think, okay, so let's take relieved when they got a reliever. That's why I had to work till 11, okay? So you would think he's reported Sebastian missing. He gets off the phone at 6:30, turns to his supervisor if he's on the site there or on his way to the site. When he gets to work, hey, man, my stepson's missing. I need to get out of here as soon as I can. Now, I would leave right then.
Exactly.
Hell, I would call him. I wouldn't even be on the job site. Soon, I would be headed towards Hendersonville while I'm on the phone with Katie and the law enforcement and the sheriff or whoever they called, right? And I'm like, I'm on my way. I would have probably been there 3-hour drive. We know this. I've done it 5 or 6 times, 3-hour drive. I'd have been there at 9:30.
Exactly.
I don't think Chris, out of his own words, got there till 1:30.
Tell you why he didn't leave when he did?
He was working.
He wanted to put as much
when they come to relieve
himself
him,
and
you would think he'd go, I'm so sorry. I know I'm off. I probably shouldn't have been working. My stepson has disappeared. We don't know where he is. He didn't, though. He didn't report Sebastian missing to his work. What? So let's think about this. Hang the phone up with Katie. Law enforcement's descending on her house. Boom, big searches. Everybody's out looking for Sebastian. Chris Proudfoot, allegedly, in my opinion, based on what I was told, gets off the phone and goes to work. And half hours later is still working. I'm just visualizing moving those levers and picking up that steel and that iron or whatever and lifting it up to where they can put it in. He's working, and his stepson is missing. His wife is all sorts about herself. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? 4.5 hours later. Now here's the question I have. He was relieved. Not his doing. He didn't say, raise my hand, stepson's missing, get someone over here for me. He was working. The first question I have, what would have happened had he not been relieved? Would he have worked the full shift? I'm assuming 7 to 3. Maybe they go 7 to 7. I don't know. Would he have worked the whole shift and then told us that there was no one there to relieve him? Not only did he not report him missing, when I was told that he was relieved, I asked the question this. I said this. So he probably said, like, stepson's missing. No. We had no clue his stepson was missing. I said, what? You mean to tell me this guy's working 4.5 hours and he hasn't told anybody No. We didn't learn this till after he was gone. We didn't learn this till after he was gone. We didn't learn this until after he was gone from the job. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? I think we've been asking this question since day 1, day 2, September 26th, February 26th, February 26th.
Right, so he was not at the Memphis RV Park, and I've just looked it up on Google Earth, and it is, you got St. Jude's there, and then literally draw a straight line across, and you got Memphis RV Park. Right, not far from the zoo. So, me personally, I would go to an RV park as close as possible to work. You know what I mean? Less driving I had to do, the better. I wouldn't have to leave so early. B, I'd get home sooner. C, I'd get something to eat quicker. You know what I mean? D, I'd be able to chill out and put my feet up and say sod off to the whole world. I would not be travelling 30 minutes or so, something like that, 20 something to 30 minutes to work when 6 miles away, which is going to take what to drive? 6 miles. But if you drove 6 miles an hour, it'd take you an hour. So 6 miles away, it's going to take you what? 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, if that. So, and the fact that he say he had to wait till they got relief for him, I call bullshit on that from day one. Because I said if I'd been Chris, I had the phone call at 6 a.m. Right, now he'd be getting in his car to go to work for 6:30, if that was the case, right? And after my wife saying, our son's missing, I don't know where he is, he's not in the house, he's not outside, he's not anywhere, I can't find him. I'd be going, right, I'm on my way. I'd phone my work up, I'd hang up, I'd tell her then, before I hung up, I'd say, right, phone the police now. Right, so I'd hang up, I'd then phone my work and say, look, you got to get someone in housing. He doesn't even have to say about his stepson being missing. He could have just said, I've got to get back up to Hendersonville. There's a family situation. Okay, the situation has occurred. And I've got to get home to deal with it. So he didn't even have to tell him then that his stepson was missing. But no, he goes to work. But he's telling everyone he was there at 5:15 a.m. Everyone has questioned that. Why would you be there at 5:15 a.m. when you're not allowed to operate them cranes till 7 a.m. because there's that noise restriction thing. And they can't operate them during the night either because it's by a hospital. There's a noise restriction. Right? So, but no, he goes to work. He climbs up that big fuck-off tower. He sits in there. He's got an earpiece in both ears. One full down for the control person down the bottom, and one for his mobile phone. That is illegal. That's a distraction. You're in the middle of lifting some of these great big heavy steel bars, right? And you get a phone call come through. That's a distraction. You are not supposed to have your mobile phones on when you're up in the crane, right? And I don't believe in anyone phoning any partner if they're at work during the game. I never phoned mine. I used to text him saying, can you bring some milk in? Right? Well, I never phoned him. And then he never read his fucking text messages, so he'd come in, I go, did you get milk? What milk? Ugh! Read your fucking messages. Right? So I just gave up. I'd send the kids round to the garage or whatever if I was busy. And I'd go, oh, while I'm doing your dinner, can you just nip round the garage and get me a pint of milk or a jug of milk? You know what I mean? Or I'd get it at the shops on the way up to picking the kids up. I gave up getting my husband because he never answered. Even when he wasn't at work and he was out, he'd never answer his fucking phone. And if he did, or say he phoned me, I'd go, yeah, what? Okay. So you're going to be late in tonight. Okay. See you then. Bye. Boom. That was our talk on the phone. No 3-hour talks between me and my husband. Not even when we was courting. But then again, we didn't have mobile phones then. So you're not going to stand on a land phone for 3 hours. Privacy. Right? Because our phone was in the living room. In the end, our mum had another phone put in, which was in the kitchen. Because 9 times out of 10, she'd be in the kitchen. So rather than rushing to the living room to get the phone from there, she'd get it from the kitchen. So we did have a bit of privacy then when she had that second phone because we could stand in the kitchen on the phone. But we never did that then. On his breaks, yeah. But I can understand where Katie's coming from. He's working down there 3.5 hours. But you're not going to travel home every day, 3.5 hours. Even though I do know people that do travel home every night from work and then travel back the next morning. Right? But I had this woman whose little girl I used to look after, her husband, he was a lorry driver. Right? And she wouldn't see him for, a week, 2 weeks sometimes. So yes, she'd be on the phone to him, but I can assure you she wouldn't have been on the phone for 3 fucking hours. So, because, come on, Matt, what can you talk to your husband about for 3 hours? Come on, girls, tell me. What can you talk to your husband about for 3 hours? I can't think of one thing I could talk to my husband. I can talk to my neighbour or my a good friend of mine for 3 hours. I've been on the phone for 3 hours talking to friends when I lived in Dundee. I'd be on there for 3 hours. Me and Angie would be on the phone for up to 3 hours at a time sometimes talking. Yeah. I'd go to, like, my husband, he'd go to work. Okay, see you later, babe. See ya. Bye. Fuck off. You know what I mean? And then I'd get the kids off to school. I'd come home. I'd clean my house up, get my washing done, get it out on the line if I hadn't already got it out on the line before taking the kids to school. And get all that done, then sit down, have my lunch, and chill out for a couple of hours before going to pick them up, before I trashed my house again. Then my husband would walk in, I'd go, oh, fuck. Here we go. You know what I mean? My husband's home. Ugh. Right? But, no, I can't think of any one thing I could talk to my husband for three hours about. Not even when I was dating. Like, we'd go to wine bars and we'd sit there for a few hours. But I can't remember what we'd talk about. Probably his work or my work or what my plans were during the week. Because as I said, we didn't see each other in the week, right? Because he had his job, I had my job. He lived there, I lived at my mum's. We went to work. We only met up on a Friday night and a Saturday night, right? Saturday night, I'd stay over at his, come back Sunday, sort of thing. So, and I think that's the problem with today. Today, everyone, like my son and his wife, wherever he goes, she's there. Wherever she goes, he's there. I'm thinking, look, she can go places on her own. You can go places on your own. You don't have to be in each other's pockets. You really don't. But, you know, my husband's work was boring because he was, when I first met him, he worked in the art museum. And that was comical because, like, sometimes when I went up, I'd be in the city centre, just shopping with like, once we was married and we had the baby and everything. And I think, you know what, we'll just go in the art museum just to chill out for a bit. Something for Simon to see, you know what I mean? The animals and all that lot. And you'd hear him on the radios going, Vincent, your wife's on her way. And everyone I walk past, I'd hear it, Vincent, wake up, your wife's on the way. Because he'd be falling asleep at his post. They all used to fall asleep at the post. Because they had a chair there and I'd sit there and fall asleep. So it's quite comical. But yeah, while we was dating, we only seen each other on a Friday night and a Saturday night. Come home on a Sunday. So, and when we got married, it's like we see each other every day. What have we got to talk about? Nothing. Even if I didn't see him every day, I still wouldn't have that much to talk about. Oh no, thank you. When we spend enough time in house, can't go shopping. You just wish it. I hate going shopping with my husband. I stopped going shopping with my husband. I used to tell him to sit in the fucking car. Because I get to check out and I'll be going, I didn't put these in here. I didn't put this in here. And my shopping bill would be like double. Because he'd be putting stuff in the shopping trolley without me seeing. Because if I saw it, I'd go, we don't need that. Put that. No, you're not having that. Put that. You know what I mean? So he'd wait till I got my back turned and then he'd put it in. And then put something over it so I wouldn't see it until I got to check out. So in the end, I said, no, it's all right, babe. You just stay in the car. Just sit in the car. I'll be 10 minutes. And I literally was, say 10, 15 minutes in the shop. Because I've never liked shopping. So I go in, get what I want, pay, come out. I've always been the same. I've never been one for taking an hour round Asda or Tesco's or Aldi's or Lidl's, whatever it was. I've never been that sort of person. Just go in, get what I want, get out. Yeah, they can sit in the car. And I remember when I fell out with him at one stage, I did fall out with him big time. Right, because of my 40th birthday. I've been planning my 40th birthday from the day I gave birth to my son. Right? Then I had my daughter and I went, and I said to my husband then, I said, you know what, by the time I'm 40, Simon will be 16. We won't need a babysitter. Because he can look after staying and keeping an eye on Dee. We won't need a babysitter, we can go out a bit more. My husband did sod off for my 40th. So he didn't just get the cold shoulder, he got the cold everything. I'd get ready to go out to the shops and he'd go, it was his day off, so he'd go, want me to take shops? And I wouldn't even acknowledge him. Well, I wouldn't even talk to him. I just gave him the finger and walk out the door. Then come back with the bag. I said, I'll take you. And I said, I just looked at him and gave him the finger again. And this went on for about 3 weeks where I did not speak to him. Did not speak to him. And he said to me, he said, is this all because I didn't do a birthday? I looked at him and looked away. He said, well, I didn't think you liked surprises. Wow, that was like putting a red rag to a bull. And I went, how would you know I don't like surprises? I said, you've never given me anything. You've never put a surprise birthday party on me. You've never surprised. The only time you surprised me was when you took me for a meal and then I find out, oh no, we're not going for a meal. We're meeting up with the whole of your fucking family. And we're going on a black country bus ride thing where you go from pub to pub and then you have something to eat at the end. Faggots and peas and whatever, which I don't eat. Right. I said, that was the only surprise I've ever had off you. And that wasn't a nice surprise. I said, so how would you know I don't like surprises? He went, well, at least you spoke to me. I go, fuck yourself. But I think it was like 3 weeks I didn't speak to him. He's lucky he got to sleep in the bed. You know what I mean? I could have made him sleep on the sofa, but I let him sleep in the bed. But I didn't speak to him for 3 weeks. Even my kids are going, you and Dad okay? I went, what? You and Dad okay? Yeah. As far as I know, he's okay. I'm okay. Is your dad okay? Is something wrong with your dad then? No, it's all right, Mum. It's all right. And they just walk away. You know what I mean? But I thought, no, I can't be asked to speak to someone ignorant as he was. You know, so, and even my daughter said to him when we split up, he said, Dad, you're a great father, which he was. She said, but you're a crap husband. Even my daughter said that to her dad. He was. He'd do anything for anyone except me. I wanted him to get my Christmas stuff out the last 1 year. He gets a phone call off his niece. She needs help with her Christmas stuff. So what does he do? Pops off in the car to his nieces. By the time he's got back, I've got my Christmas tree out the loft. I've got all the decorations down, everything, and the Christmas tree up. He went, I didn't know you wanted the Christmas tree. I said, don't even go there, Vince. Don't even go there. You knew I was putting the tree up tonight. I said to you, the kids will help me put the tree together tonight. And you fuck off to help your niece with her Christmas stuff. What about your own kids and their Christmas stuff? So, no, we had many arguments, me and my husband. Many. Well, not arguments, disagreements. He never won an argument with me. Never won an argument with me. If he'd say, oh, we're going to do a blah, 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 this or whatever, and I'll go, okay. He'd go, Okay, that's not good. What's not good? You agreeing to, okay. It's like with the name we gave Denise. Her name is Denise May Ann. And he wanted the name Denise. And I said, nah. He said, yeah. I said, okay, but we spell it with a C and not an S. Right? Then he said, what about Denise May for a second name? I went, yeah, okay. He went, hold on. He said, you agreed to that too easily. Way too easily you agreed to that one. I went, what do you mean? He said, Anne, May, he said, is my mum's name? I went, yeah. He said, but you agreed to it. I said, yeah, because May is my nan's name. He went, oh, fuck. And Anne is my mum's name. So Denise May Anne, she's got my nan's name and she's got my mum's name. Well, no, she's got my mum's name. Oh, yes, no, she's got my nan's name, middle name. So he didn't win that argument either. But he knew he knew something was up. If I agreed too quickly, he knew, oh, well, no, she's agreed too quickly for that. I was expecting her to put up a bit of an argument about that. And I didn't. Because it's my grand's name, May. We used to call her Nanny May. Right? And Anne is my mum's name. So yeah, thing is, May Anne. He used to say, Denise May Anne, and I go, why? And he go, oh, well, that's my mum's name. And I go, no, it's my grand's name. Because his mum said, oh, that's nice that you're having my name as a second name. I went, no, it's my nan's name. May's my nan's name. We call her Nanny May. Anyway, so that was, we've got right off the subject again. Right? This is why you cannot believe a word Chris says. He shouldn't have a phone with him up there. It's a distraction. He had the phone up there. He said he had to wait until he was relieved. He didn't. They had at least 2 other people there who could have done that job. He was pulled off. I was told that. I heard that. He was pulled off the crane at 11 a.m. because Silvers puts it a bit politer, where he says his focus was off. He's being an arsehole. Right, so we got reported to the site manager, and the site manager come along and pulled him off. Him saying he arrived at 5:15. Why would he arrive at 5:15? Was he trying to hide evidence? No need for him to be there at 5:15. They said he arrived at 6:30, so why was he telling us he arrived at 5:15? Would you get to work 5:15, 6, 1 hour, 45 minutes before you had to? I normally get to work about 15 minutes before I had to, maybe to grab a coffee, maybe, before starting and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be getting there even half an hour before I had to. Right? I can understand him not reporting Sebastian being missing. Because really, it's got nothing to do with his colleagues about his stepson. But he could have been polite enough to that. I'm sorry, my focus is off today because I've had a phone call this morning. But me, I'd have phoned him up and said, look, I'm got to go home. I can't come in. You'll have to get someone else to do the crane today. And then to say he was going back to work on when he went back down there. He wasn't going back to work. Why was he going back down there when he had no work to go to? He even said on one live he was doing, someone could do a radio going. What live was that? I think that was Smiley's. And he said, yes. He said, I am covering. I have got a job. He said, I'm not telling you where it is and all this lot. And then at one point, he also said he was doing like the night shift. But he couldn't be working in a crane on a night shift because cranes aren't allowed to work in the dark. They're not allowed to. It's dangerous work. So the cranes would not be working when it goes dark. So whatever work he was doing, it was not working in a crane. But the fact he didn't even tell his site manager that his stepson was missing to get home, even before he climbed up them ladders. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Why would he do that? And the only reason I can think of is he was trying to put as much distance as possible between Stafford Court and himself. And by telling all these lies, did he not realise he'd get caught out on these lies? The fact that he was waiting for someone to come and give him relief so he could come off the crane. The fact that he said he got there at 5:15 when he didn't, he got there at 6:30. Yeah, he did. He got pulled because of his pig-headed behaviour. Right? And he said he was on the phone to law enforcement all the way home. Until he got home. Well, isn't that illegal? Unless he had hands-free phone. Possible. But at 6:33, now he arrived at work at 6:30. 3 minutes later, he's phoning law enforcement. Why wait till 6:33 to phone law enforcement? Why not phone them at 6:05? Right? Why? Okay, Katie couldn't phone him. Phone the police. She's incoherent. She couldn't even talk. Right? Why didn't you phone them at 6:05? Why wait till 6:33? Right? And then he could have said to Katie, get in touch with Seth. I'll phone law enforcement, you phone Seth. She had his works numbers. He said he gave her the works numbers for any emergencies to phone him at work. He'd have been pulled off his line of duty, told and sent home. He could have been there by 7:10, 7:30. The latest, you know what I mean? But she doesn't even do that. They wait till 6:20 to message him. Phone me, 911. 6:20. Then just to be told, don't be mad. But Sebastian's missing. Don't be mad. Why would I be mad? It's only my son's missing. What you mean, don't be fucking mad? I'm going to rip your fucking head off. Where's my son? You know what I mean? But you see, Seth isn't me. Seth is the quiet, subdued, laid-back sort of guy. He doesn't like argument, confrontation. Well, I'll go for confrontation. First time. No ifs, no buts. I'm in there. Anyway, so that was what I wanted to prove to you. You can't do anything CP says. He's lied already. Even his work colleagues have put him down as shady, not to trust. But he lied there, where he said he got relieved at 11 a.m. No, he got pulled off at 11 a.m. And here, when he said he arrived at 5:15 a.m., no, he arrived at 6:30 a.m. And there was rumour that he had his RV parking not on the site, but across the road from the site. There's like a car park. I heard his RV he was parking his RV there. So obviously not. And he didn't even park it to have his RV at the nearest site, 6 miles away. We should have took him, 5-10 minutes to drive there and back? No, he has to drive 20-something minutes, nearly 30 minutes to his RV. Why? Why drive? You know what I mean? Why drive that far? Because he went from Memphis to Mississippi, didn't he? He went into Mississippi. Isn't Horn Lake Mississippi? I don't know. Anyway, the other one I wanted to watch is this one. Now this one,
Silver's on the scene.
this one is about a possible sighting at Walmart. And you've got to listen to what he says. Alright, so we're going to fast forward a minute.
As you saw earlier, take a look. I'm at the Walmart. That's right, the Walmart in Cleveland.
Right. Walmart in Cleveland. I think I have got it on my map, but I'll make sure. Walmart, Cleveland. Right. Yeah. Well, just put it this way out. Every time his mouth opens, you know to lie. You know it's going to be some BS coming out of his mouth. So this one is about where there is a possible sighting of a child who allegedly went by the name Sebastian. And as that lad walked away from this guy, he heard the lad say Seth. And then this guy who he's with, this guy who this group of lads was with, down the bottom of the checkout thing, shouted the name, stamped his foot and shouted his name, something like Proudfoot. Now, this guy we're going to hear about him did not know about Sebastian. Again, this is in Cleveland, Tennessee. Did not know about Sebastian being missing when this happened. So he was in touch with him, he's been in touch with him. But you listen to what he has to say. He says it better than me. He's a bit more diplomatic than I am.
Tennessee. And
I'm back. Sorry, I'm not getting kicked out no more. I'm kicking myself out. I keep clicking on the wrong window. Oh God, I've just kicked myself out again. So I'm sorry about that. I'll just get this back up again for us. That's what happens when I've got too many windows open. Oh, that one. Come on. Make sure you can see this. So we're going to get on with listening to this one.
So, Silver's on the scene at yahoo.com. I've had tips coming in and leads. Look for Sebastian, that he might be out there, you know, as we think, maybe possibly not with us anymore, and places to search. But I did have a tip come in for this Walmart here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Okay, the tip is this. There was a guy who was doing his normal grocery shopping. He was in the grocery department, and as he's standing there looking for different things, he had noticed a group of teenagers. He had noticed a group of teenagers, boys and girls, with two adults. He said it looked odd. The group looked odd, but you know, that's all he noticed. And he had walked away from them, doing his shopping. And when he was 20 or so aisles down, a pretty good ways down, just looking at food to purchase, he was approached by one of those teenagers, and it was a teenage boy. The boy said to him basically, "Hey, it's a nice day to be shopping." And he replied with, "Yes, it's a great day to be shopping." And before they could say anything else, the male with the group was several miles back from where this kid had come from, yells out, "Sebastian." Which at this time, the kid looks up, looks this guy right in the eyes, turns abruptly to go back to the group, and as he walks away, this guy reported this tip is saying, he says, "Seth," under his breath. Now at the time, this was back in April, about 103 days ago. It's a long time ago.
Now, why would a child is with a group of other children and two adults approach a guy all nicely and say, "Good day, nice day to be shopping," all this lot. Then someone calls him by his name, Sebastian. As he turns to go back to the group, he says under his breath, "Seth." Now, why would that guy say that? He didn't even know about Sebastian being missing, so how would he know who Seth was? Right? So we got that, Mitch. How would that guy know who Seth was? He wouldn't.
At the time, stating who emailed me says he did not know Sebastian was missing. He thought the whole encounter was odd. He thought the group was odd, but that was it. Several weeks after this encounter, he sees on the news, YouTube, wherever he sees that this kid Sebastian Rogers is missing, and of course he goes, "Wow, that is the kid who approached me in the Walmart." One thing he also said that I left out is when I got back to the group, one of the girls in the group, teenage girls, had kind of put her arm up to him and was whispering something in his ear, and about that.
Sorry about this buffering again. But why?
That time, the adult male with the group, stomps his foot and yells loud, "Proudfoot." Now, I'm just telling you what's reported to me. No judgment here. No saying this is, as we've talked about.
As I said, this has got 2 years now. Yeah? Because it's 2 years, 3 months he's been missing so far. So going back 2 years now. This guy saw a child who spoke to him, who was called Sebastian. Right? As the child's turned to go back to the group when they called him, he said, like, quietly, Seth. And then as he gets closer to the group, the guy in the group stamps his foot or something and says, Proudfoot. But why would he be calling Sebastian Proudfoot? Why would he be calling him Proudfoot? Why would his name be Sebastian Proudfoot? Isn't it Sebastian Rogers? So why, if that was Sebastian, why would they be calling him Proudfoot? And it doesn't make sense. This guy, as I said, did not know about Sebastian being missing. It was only when he's seen something, he said, that's the lad who spoke to me in the shop. Back a little bit.
Had kind of put her arm up to him and was whispering something in his ear, and at about that time the adult male with the group stomps his foot and yells loud, Proudfoot. Now I'm just telling you what's reported to me. No judgment here, no saying this is ridiculous. As we've talked about, everything needs to be checked out. So Silver's on the scene, on my way to Knoxville now, then going to make my way over to the Nashville area, as everyone knows, you've seen in the videos. So I came here, coming right through Cleveland. I contacted the guy again. There's 2 Walmarts in the town. Told me which one he was at. He gave me more details. He's come to the store and do a reenactment. So what did I do here? I've never done anything like this before. But you never get anything unless you ask for it. You never ask, you never get. So I went into the store. I got the store manager. He then got the loss prevention or security manager. The 3 of us had a discussion. Of course, my goal was to see footage myself. More to come. Okay, so I'm back. So I had to take the phone call that was coming in. That was actually the police officer, law enforcement calling. So what happened was, and I don't know where I was exactly on the story, but I met with the store manager as well as loss prevention, I believe, manager, security manager, and of course they won't let me see anything, but they told me to contact law enforcement, which I just did. I did before I started the video.
Plus, they didn't even have his picture up in their store. They had pictures of all the missing people, children. They didn't have his picture up on their board in the store. I wonder if they did after that happened. I wonder if they had his picture put up then. Oh, come on, you piece of crap.
Video, and while I was doing this video, he actually called me. So there's been immediate response, I would say, from me making contact and speaking to someone at the police department in the city of Cleveland to get in the call was less than 5 minutes. So took the full thing down. I've also given the name of the person who made the who gave the tip, who actually saw what he believes to be Sebastian, and they have my information. They call me, and I'll let you know more to come if I get any updates. But here's the thing. I know me especially, I just feel like Sebastian's probably more than likely no longer with us. But if this is him,
sorry about this, guys. So let's recap. This guy, who he goes to by the name, he calls him the tipster, right? He got in touch with him, and he's been messaging back and forth. And he's saying how he went shopping to get some groceries in, he noticed this group of children with the two adults a bit further down, several aisles down from him. And while he's looking round by the fruit and veg and all that lot, this one lad comes up to him and goes, nice day, or something like that. He goes, yes. And then, before anything else could be said, the guy who's in charge of the group, there's a guy and a woman, the guy who's in charge of the group called him, and he called him Sebastian. With that, the lad turned round to leave, and as he's turned to leave, he went, Seth. He then got down to the group, and this one girl put her arm round him, whispered something to him, and then that guy stamped his foot or whatever and said, Proudfoot. Now, Sebastian, Seth, and Proudfoot. 3 names. This guy had never seen or heard anything about a child being missing. Right? Until he saw something. And he said, that's the lad that he saw a flyer or something about Sebastian. And he said, that's the lad who approached me in the store. So
He was seen, and it really is him. That changes, and it changed it for the positive, because we want him alive and we want him to get back home to his father.
yeah.
So that's the update. More will come as I learn more, but yeah, Silver's on the at the Walmart. Okay, what do you think about that? That was a lot, huh? So, what has happened? You heard on the video, you saw me talking. So, I get this tip for this Walmart. The police were notified, and hopefully this will go somewhere, and they'll take a look at the video footage, and we can, if it's Sebastian, find him. If it's not, rule this out. I wanted to also take a moment to talk about how quickly these things happen. As you see in the video, it's about a 5-minute period from me hanging up the phone with the police department to the officer calling me. About 5 minutes. Both the dispatch was great, as well as the officer. He was just open to listen to everything. But here's the best part. Within an hour off the phone with him, and it could have been 10 minutes, based on how quickly he called me later. But I received an email from the tipster. Let's call him the tipster. And he basically says this: I received a call from an officer of the Cleveland Police Department. I reported my experience to the officer. He will investigate this at Walmart. Thank you for relaying my info to law enforcement. You are one of the only ones that believe in me. I feel better now that local law officials are investigating my encounter at Walmart. We have to take everything. I understand people call in and there's false reports, or people believe they see something when they don't. I went back and forth on email with this guy several times before I did what I did today. Notably, I kept, as you say, grilling. I kept asking him questions. The questions I would ask were to eliminate what he was telling me. Okay? From the jump, I wanted to believe him, but I started getting details from him, which he kept providing with no question. He gave me his phone number. I never spoke to him. I just kept communicating through email, but he never once backed off anything I would ask him. So after about 5 or 6 email exchanges, and I had enough information to walk into that Walmart to say, hey, show me this footage, and I'll tell you exactly what time, day, and where in the store. I felt compelled to go do that because, as he said, believe in him. I think no doubt he was approached by a child, a teenage boy. I think no doubt he saw this group. The question is the boy that approached him Sebastian? And that's what we have to find out. So let me just add to what we've seen. You saw this in the video, but you probably didn't understand what was going on. So I want to kind of recap. This is me when I first went into the Walmart. The first thing I did is I took the email, the details of where this tipster believes he met Sebastian, and I walked the store, putting myself there. So I'll play this real quick, and I'll stop as I go. So as I don't want to re-speak what I've already spoken, but I want to show you as I speak. So this is all the grocery area. And if anybody's been in a Walmart, it's pretty much laid out the same. Back over here in this area is the meat. This guy had gotten his meat. This person had gotten his meat, and he had made his way down to, as he calls it, the lunch, the meat, the sandwich meats. Then he made his way here to the cheese, and going back, he had already seen this group way back at the like hamburger meat area. So now he's down about 20 aisles, and he comes over to where he calls these floor coolers, right? He walks out as he's exiting these, and he gets to about right here, and he stops to look. And at this point, this boy approaches him, okay? And so if you'll look here, I made a point to grab the aisle.
Yes.
He's at about aisle 26, A26. And then you'll hear me in the video said, and he was way down there. So at this point, way down here, this person noticed this group of teenagers and two adults way down here. He makes his way down to where we are, and that far, this teenage boy approached him. He did not ask for help. He did not seem worried. He did not seem scared, which did not alert the guy at all, because it's like he's not nothing was out of the ordinary other than he was randomly approached by a teenage boy asking, about talking about how great the day was to shop or whatever. And
But it's strange how he said the name Seth.
he went on. So hope that gives you an idea of what happened. So at this point, here's what we have to talk about. Okay? And I thought about doing a video on these three, 1, 2, 3. It's a 3-step process. In my opinion, it's a 3-step process. And I was going to do a separate video, but I'm going to wrap it up in this video because I think it's very important to listen to what I have to say here. So what are the 3-step process when it comes to Sebastian Rogers or any missing person, especially our children? First of all, we have to find them. You can't find them without keeping the awareness alive. And when I always talk about keeping the
Right, we'll stop there. Right, it's true. 3 steps. You've got to find them. To find them, you've got to keep the awareness alive. And then once we find that child, that's when we get justice. That, believe it or not, Chris and Katie, is when we will all come for you. When Sebastian is found. That is why they don't want Sebastian found. That is why they want to make it out he just left on his own accord. No, he didn't. Too many red flags for him to have left on his own accord. No scent, no trace of him. No footprints. He doesn't even go on grass barefoot because he's got an allergy. So he's going to stick to the roadside. And if he'd have been in the road, walking down past 1001 Stafford caught that house on the corner with the camera and the sensor light. It would have triggered the sensor light. Or, if not, you would have seen a shadow figure walking past on the camera. Like he did with that bloke who's walking his dog. You saw a shadowy figure. Right? You just seen a shadowy figure walk past that house. And yet he's managed to get past all these houses with all these cameras on, all these Ring doorbells, and not one of them picked him up. Not one. Right? So him just walking out that house, no. Now, we've listened to the Reckoning Code. Oh, I've just got to turn my lamp on. There's a little touch button there. And there's things I want to just go over. Now, I believe I did think perhaps they are right, perhaps he didn't go home that night. But I don't think that is right. I'm going back to what I've always thought, and that is that Sebastian did go home that night. But something happened in that house. And I think something happened where she either left a mark on Sebastian, knowing that he would go to school the next day. He couldn't go to school the next day with a mark on him. Or she lashed out at him in anger and he's fighting at his head. Right? And then she mentioned about KP had something on CP, while Katie had something on Chris, and Chris had something on Katie. They're both covering for each other. One goes down, they both go down. Now, as I said, I've always said this. She set this up. Because he gave her an ultimatum, we believe, allegedly, that he gave her an ultimatum. It's me or him. He gave her an ultimatum. And what does she do when he gives her ultimatums? Oh, yeah. She gets rid of, doesn't she? Like the cats. Right? So, every time he's giving her an ultimatum, she's got rid of him. So, she planned this. And she planned it for that weekend. Because, tell you why? Because on the 26th was the anniversary, the 8th anniversary or 9th anniversary of their divorce. What another kick in the teeth for Seth. Oh, I didn't just divorce you on this day. 8 years later, your kid's gone missing. What a kick in the teeth for Seth. Yeah. Right? So, and then they say there's no signs of him leaving that house. Well, the only way he could have left that house, and I don't believe he went out the front door, because the camera across the road would have spotted movement. They would have seen something, a shadowy figure again. It would have seen something. Even Chris has said, if anyone had come up to their front door, because people say, well, could someone have got the code or got in the door and come and took Sebastian from the house? And Chris said, if anyone had come to that front door, you only see it clearly, you only see who it was, but you'd see a shadowy figure. So if you're going to see a shadowy figure of someone coming to the door, you're going to see a shadowy figure of someone leaving that front door. So that's where I don't agree with Mob Crew. He said on one of his lives that he believes come out the front door. No, they did not come out the front door with him. Right? There's only two other ways he could have got out that house. If he's not in that house. Right? And that is one, through the back door, or two, through the crawl space. Now, if they come out the back way, the camera on that house at the back room would have caught a shadowy figure moving. Now, I've said before, you know when we got those pictures of that, the back end of their house, that, that piece of shit released, that PO, SF, right? We said, why have you blurred it out? For privacy reasons. Why? We all know what the back of their house looks like. I think that little light in the corner, which everyone's been putting down to being Faith's bedroom nightlight, why would the nightlight be on in Faith's bedroom when Faith wasn't there? I believe that was Katie coming across over the fence. She had to have the light on so she could see what she was doing. Right? So, I believe that little light in that corner is Katie coming back. So, did she leave that way? I don't think she could took Sebastian, because getting over that fence with a child on your shoulder, not easy. Right? So, if he was in that house when they did their searches, and they had the dogs going, right? Why didn't the dogs pick up on anything? Even if he was up in that loft. I was watching a program the other week, right, where there's in US, and it's a crime program, true crime thing, and they're trying to find a body of something, and they couldn't find this one person. The dog indicated by jumping up the wall. They could smell something really bad. So they had the dogs go in. The dogs made an indication by jumping up the wall. But they even went up in the loft and couldn't find her. But she was up in the loft. She was up there. They found her eventually up in the loft. So it could have been up in the loft when they came and done their searches. Alright? But I don't think they did not do the full forensics. They didn't. We know that because Chris said that himself. We sat at this table. We always sat at the dining table when we spoke to law enforcement, and we said, what can we do? What about fingerprints? What about this? What about that? And the police officer said, I'm just reading something then. Why? Police officer said like then, it's not like the CSI. Fingerprints are no good. Get the fuck. I watch the real FBI files, the real ones, who go over old cases and they show you how they get there. Got the evidence, got the fingerprints, everything. They've got fingerprints of a metal fucking bar. By placing it in this, like, holder, right? They just did it, placed it in this holder, took a photo, then changed it a little bit, took a photo, turned it a little bit more, took a photo, and they did that right up until where they got to the starting point again. They then put all those photos together and got their fingerprint. So don't sit there and tell me they could not get fingerprints off the doorknob, off the keypad, or anything. They can. Michelle, what do you think about this otter? What otter? What otter? Bunk. So, anyway, we are now going to watch the next video I've got, which I really want. I just wanted to show you them two videos first because I thought that was interesting. Because I had watched that one before about the Walmart, and I never wrote it down. But now I've got it on my maps as possible sightings. Right? Now this one is where they are at, I believe they are all house. Him, his wife, and another woman.
We're here. Silver's on the scene. We're here.
Yeah. So this is where he did go to the house twice before. And he parks his car off the road. His front end of the car facing in towards the driveway area. As I said, Chris drove past there every day. Now, if that's an area that he's worried about, he's going to take the registration number. Oh, yeah, and how would he get to know whose car it was? Yeah, he's got pals in law enforcement. We know that because he phoned them direct that day, didn't he? Rather than go through 911. So, yeah, they could have got a smell, but I think if they've got dogs in that house, that would be off-putting as well for other dogs. There is a lot more to it. So we could have been in the house at that time. And then they said they had these scanners that scanned the walls. Did they actually go up in that loft area? Did they? Doubt it. There's a lot of things they have not done in this case. A lot. And I feel sorry for Sebastian because he's the only one suffering from this. He got let down in life. And my gut is telling me, not my heart is telling me he's alive, he's alive, he's alive. I'm not listening to my heart. I can't. Well, I want to for Seth. For Seth, I do. But I've got that knot in my stomach again. Which is telling me he's no longer with us. He's not. I want it to be. I want him to prove me wrong. And find this boy and find him alive. Right? And let the truth come out. As Chris said, you'll all be eating crow pie when the truth comes out. Well, you know what, Chris? Tell us the truth so I can go and bake myself the crow pie. Okay? But is Chris involved? Is involved, but I think Kate is the one who orchestrated this. I really do. And when you hear that one with Sarah, that other mystic, who I love it when she gets into her trances and she's talking to Sebastian, right? I can't think of her channel though, because I need to subscribe to her again. Why have you deleted all your pics? I used to like looking at those pictures. I've got loads of your pictures. Why? Because pictures tell a story. Pictures don't lie. Videos don't lie. So, there's a lot in this case that should have been done and wasn't. Anyway, we're going to look at, this is the derelict house across the road from, now on one of the videos, which I've got in my downloads, you can actually see their RV through this gap in the trees. Where he stands, you can actually see the RV in this field. From this field where he stands, right by this derelict house, you can see the RV. So if those to come out their door or look out their windows, they could look over to that area where that house was. So, oh God, my mouse is playing up. Oh no, I've got to go and get the charger so I can put my mouse on charge. So okay, I always know when my mouse needs charging because it'll start playing up and doesn't work properly. So just got to plug it in and put it on so it works. That's it. Yeah, I've seen that video you sent me. I see what you mean. It does look like Katie. And it's weird because it's not Katie, it's BJ. But it does look like Katie. I see what you mean by it, but it's weird because it's not. It's Brittany. It's not Katie. But it is weird. And we know it's Brittany because she has her husband. Sometimes her husband. You hear her husband talking in the background. You've seen her with videos of her and her husband in the garden. You've seen her with her kids in the background, blurred out, but you see them moving around. The kids moving about. So we know it isn't Katie because it does look like Katie. Yeah, it is weird, that video. So, but anyway, we're going to watch this. Because this is interesting. But as I said, when you walk from the car down the field towards the house, you don't see it in this one, it's in another one of the other ones. There's a gap in the trees and you can see their RV.
And we're at the abandoned house across from Yogi Bear.
There's a yellow shirt in it.
Whoa, that is a yellow shirt.
Yeah, that was in it. But we don't actually know if he was in a black shirt. That's what I was telling her. We don't know.
Yeah,
really
we don't know that.
what he was in. What's that say?
That's a kid's shirt. There's
Paint
no
it. Yeah, it is.
paint it. No doubt. It's green, his color.
Oh, maybe we need to do this.
Now, I'm going to stop it there.
Let's see what's on the other side.
Because he goes into this party house on his own on one of the videos. And you see that sofa there. He walks past that sofa. He doesn't look inside the sofa. It's only when he goes back, because he's on his own, he didn't feel comfortable going any further into the house, he come out. Right? Because he's on his own. He said, if I fall, hurt myself, no one's going to know. So I'd rather venture further in the house when I've got other people with me. But he went up by that sofa the first time.
Well, let's take. Yeah, there you go. Look at you. Yeah, get that out of there. And get that up.
He's in the house.
Oh shit! Yeah. There's hornets.
Something
He's
just
been
stung.
moved that many times
stung me.
down the house.
Yeah, they're coming. Yeah, we just started them. So he's stung me right there. Oh well, we don't want to mess with it. Yeah, we don't want to mess with that. Go on. Oh. Go on, bub. Yeah, be careful with your steps now. Let her go first because she's got the flashlight. So we got Silvers too and Christy. Okay, I didn't know if you want your name. We got Christy in here too. Thank you for showing up, Christy. Yeah, let me get in front of you. I'll knock those down. Here, you hold this.
Is he still alive though? I don't think he is. See what I mean? I had that argument with my heart, my gut. My heart is saying yes, he's alive. My gut is saying he's not. And I'm normally correct. When I go with my gut feeling, I'm normally correct. See, the thing is, Michelle, I said this earlier.
You got it? I'll clear these.
There's no new information come out. Your voice can't do anything. What?
Oh shit! You just disturbed the shit out of him.
Hold on, let me
Still burn.
Yeah, it's still burning.
right. I was watching oh God, The Reckoning Code again. And it's number 6 and number 7. And I think it's either on number 6 or number 7. She's talking about the law enforcement and asking questions about that. But then she stops because she's getting information coming back to her through the cards saying something like they can't tell you what they've got because then it's, that person could be gone or cover his tracks again. You know what I mean? So she stops. She said, I'm not going any further with that because it's obviously, you know what I mean? So we're going to be listening to them tomorrow because I thought, oh, come on, tell us. And I feel like emailing her and saying, would you be willing to do a video? I'll become a member if need be, just for members, where you will release the information about what law enforcement are going to do, are doing. Because I'm just curious. Because in my eyes, law enforcement aren't doing diddly SWAT. They haven't been. But the way she's putting it across is they can't tell you what they are doing or what they have got. Because it's going to give the game away. You haven't believed Mob Crew and others for a while now. I haven't really watched Mob Crew for a while. And Silvers only comes on periodically because he's working himself anyway. But I do like to watch Silvers because his boots on the ground, he'll get in there, you know what I mean? And that's the reason I watch him for. Mob Crew I do like because I like his take on videos when he can dissect a video up and find the smallest detail. So, but you see, there's not many channels now covering this. There's only Silver's Mob Crew. I'm back on the case. I had to take a break. I did. Because even though Sebastian was always on my mind while doing the other lives, Sebastian was always there. Always there. But there's not many of us doing it now. Not many channels covering. Is what's her name? I've got to subscribe back up to her again. What's her name? I can't think of her name. Even Buller and Betty, she's not really covering it no more. They only really cover it now when some new information comes out. Because it's not getting them the views, it's not making them the money. You know what I mean? So, well, I will never, I never monetize my other channel. I'll never monetize this one. I'm not here for the money. I'm here just to get their name out there, the child's name out there. Whoever is missing, get it out there. Because, as I say in my intro, we're the voice for the voiceless. They haven't got a voice, so we've got to be their voices. So I don't like to think I'm making money off them. No. Yeah. It is, isn't it, Kylie? So, but I haven't seen nothing of BHB for a while, even though I haven't signed back up to her again. I haven't seen any of her anything of hers coming up. And it shouldn't be about that. Because again, who's the one losing out on this? Sebastian. You know what I mean? When you're focusing on a lawsuit, who's the one losing out on it? Sebastian. Yeah, we can laugh. Thank you. We can laugh, talk, have good conversation. Yeah. And yeah, you know what I mean? I may not be a big channel, but I love my little group. And grants to start non-profits. What does that mean? Because everything I pay for, it comes out of my own pocket. I knew that when I took this on. When I first got my laptop, when I first opened my channel up, and I had to pay for my streaming app, I had to pay for. I pay extra for YouTube, so I don't have to pay. I don't have the adverts. But that's my choice to pay that, right? At the moment, I'm not paying for my streaming app. I'm on StreamYard, Restream. I'm not paying for anything at the moment. Because I'm fed up of paying for a streaming app, which turns out to be crap. So, the only thing I've got going out at the moment is my YouTube, for my YouTube account, plus the extra. I pay extra so that I don't have the adverts. But as I said, that's my choice. But I'm not going to be paying 20, 25, 30 pounds a month for a streaming app that is completely crap. I don't mind having a streaming app which I'm not paying for, which is crap. Because I'm not paying for it. So let's get on with this.
Yeah, look at that. so dark in here. I don't know what we're seeing. But just be careful of the forest.
What is that, raccoon?
I think it is.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think it is. Deer yesterday and raccoon today. Yeah, we'll check out these doorways. So, of course, the reason we're here is the RV sits right across the street. And, I mean, that's something I never thought. I think that's for the
don't
window.
have to always agree on
Right there,
everything.
yeah. Shine over in through there. There's a shoe.
Yeah, I know it's expensive.
Another shirt.
It's $30 dollars.
I didn't even think. Raccoon. You can tell that one.
Thank you, Kylie.
The
Thank
thing
you.
on this one, it's definitely good. It's trippy, ain't it, here? It's trippy in here. So, what is that? Is that a? It's like a curtain. You know, give me this slider. That's a curtain. So, as everybody knows, I've been to this house once, and then Christy made comment. She has been, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I even told you this, Christy. Christy and I've
It'd be vain. That's
been about this house, and so
agree.
when I got her comment, it just said I went further back, or I went all the way back, or something along that.
I said I don't agree with Mob Crew when he says about him walking out, coming out them, how they came out the front door. It's not possible. There's no evidence of them anyone leaving that house. No one. No evidence of Sebastian. No evidence of Katie. No one. So there's no way they come out the front door.
Ugh, just a straight. Oh, that is. Tail. I thought it was his face. Okay, so,
I don't
and
have
I thought,
to do yard no
wait
more,
a
so I'm not having that ongoing fight with them.
second, right? Is Chris Proudfoot allegedly, right? Is he on there trying to, you know, say I went further? I took him further back, right? And so I immediately come to you, like, what are you talking? And then that started our whole conversation. So I'm like, well, it's nice to know that someone else was out looking, because this is an look. I mean, there's a park right across the street. You can see the buildings, the little cabins.
This morning, because I have my bedroom window open all day now, so they can come in and out the bedroom window rather than have the kitchen door open. Because in the morning, it's pretty cold in my house if you have the door open in the morning. My cat this morning rang back 9 o'clock. Now, you've heard me say I don't register till about 10 a.m. because of the medication I'm on. 9 o'clock is climbing up my window, trying to knock the latch out the window. I mean, you can knock that one out, but you've got to knock the bottom one as well. It's trying to get the second window open. For fuck's sake, cat. It's 9 o'clock. Let me sleep a bit longer. I'm in by 7 o'clock. Come 7 o'clock, they're in. And they go to my back door crying and moaning, go in the bedroom moaning. Like a little child who can't get their own way. You're not going out, so they storm off into the bedroom. Then they come back out to the back. You're not going out, so they storm back off into the bedroom. That's what my cats do for about 30, 40 minutes after I lock everything down. They don't like it. Little spoiled little brats they are.
You think about his 17 hours, right? You think about him
They usually
coming back that night, I believe 3 in the morning. Or just, and so you could just drop somebody down in there. Can you see?
would that be the window of the garage?
What is that right there? Is that just
A pillow, I think.
Oh, that's, okay, gotcha.
She got her stick. Well, look at. Because if I can get down there, I will get down there.
Yeah, that was one of the things people talked about was crawl space, right? But I mean, that's just so, get the shovel too. Get the shovel into the action.
What is that?
It's just a pillow, yeah. And then look how that's where you gotta be careful stepping, because it just.
But like I said
Falls.
nothing wrong in my life
Well, see,
But I really,
look, he's gonna be thrown anyway.
early on in this case.
Yeah, one of the thoughts I'd had is
I
this was the first
something.
move
Like,
Yeah.
to hide, right?
it wouldn't
And then from
surprise
here-
me if the aliens had come down and zapped him up.
See, like,
And what people in the chat come back and say, I nearly just choked on my coffee then when you said that.
the building over
Well,
there.
no, that might be true. Perhaps the alien ship
What was it
came and zapped him up. Or-
Oh yeah, no, it's a cinder
You
box.
know
Cinder
what I
box.
mean?
Yeah. Okay, good eye. Yeah,
No
that's it.
trace of
Exactly.
him leaving that house.
Oh man, this place. Look at this. Look at the kitchen.
There's
Well, that's a
stairs that
factory.
go up too. I don't know how.
But people will only believe what they want to believe. If it doesn't make sense to them, they don't want to believe it. And I think you could be missing out on a lot of information by not listening to everything and looking at everything that you see that someone is willing to show you, like with a
What's a raccoon?
speak box session.
Deer and raccoon. You love the. Tell Chrissy I'll show
There's so much.
you about the raccoons. We saw 6 of them in Hendersonville. It was actually in White House.
I'm talking to raccoon in like 5 minutes. I have a family of them crossing
Oh,
the street.
Yep. So this is one of those houses where you can see.
you're talking about in Park City. Kylie, I think, asked me to have a look at Park City, Kansas. That's not far from where you live. I think it was Kylie come on last night and said, because I had my map, look up Park City, Kansas, or something like that. So I did. It wasn't what she asked for, but that's what came up when I punched it in. I said, that's the only thing in Kansas that comes up as Park City, was a place in Kansas. So that was Kylie asking me last night.
With him being here, let me grab this right here. With him being walking out on his own.
Interesting.
Yep.
What about the stairs over there?
Look.
2024.
2000.
That was
It
his
does say
Kansas
2024.
Park, Memphis.
Hold on a second. It says.
That's what I said. Somebody's been here. Life in. Is that life in?
All right, that's the other thing. I'm going to check that out again.
N-E-N-D. Life. Lifer in? Or what's it say? Please tell me it don't say life in. Eyes.
March 30th.
2024. Does that say life in? Please tell me it don't. Does it?
I'm kind of. No, I'm not listening to you.
Am I for life?
For life.
Does that say?
Let's open it up.
E-N-D or S-N? What's it?
It says for life.
It says eyes want to be something else.
Okay, so let me get this. I'm gonna take a picture of this. March 30th,
Oh, it
guys.
does say
Yeah, it says March.
Yeah.
February 26th.
Right.
She was here. She was here. Katie was in March. Okay,
Yeah.
with this.
At the RV park. For life. I don't know what it says, but it looks
It
like.
says March 30th, 2024.
Right.
For lifer. I think it's like for lifers.
I don't know.
And that part I cannot make out, and then the eyes at the bottom.
Okay.
So I'm going to post this, and I hope somebody can see what they think it says.
I saw it on
Ah.
2024 on it.
It does, because I thought I saw 2020 at first.
No, I saw this.
Okay, so let's think about this.
Yeah, February.
A month,
Yep.
less than a month, 4 days from a month, did that.
You all right? Here you go, Tricia.
Got the map.
But she was here. They were here.
BTK.
What does that say up there? It says angle.
And or angle B.
Yeah, it's got the dog
Right
on.
here. What was this? Yeah, it's got a skull. Almost like it says bull.
Wallet.
There's a wallet there?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh. I'm just opening up another window. Oh no, what am I doing? Oh well. Oh, not letting me share it at the moment. Not letting me get it up at the moment. Hold on, got it now. Here it is. And it says, I'm going to zoom in. It has a playground. It closes at 8 p.m. There. That's what she found. But I'm going to find that again. I'll find it and put it on the map. I swear to God, every time today I've come on here about, I think it's about 11ish, 11:30. So I'm still a bit groggy still, but I was awake. My cats were outside playing. I thought, right, I'm going to go online. So I've gone on and I went on to my Google Earth because I was looking for something she said for what that said. I reckon he said somewhere it's a river, a body of water, somewhere he can easily stay hidden. But she also said, right, hold on, what did she say? It's an area of water already checked. And the only area of water we know that's been checked was that stream, that creek, that one we was all focused on at one stage, and it goes down to the Cumberland River. So I was looking around there for anything today that resembled her drawing. I couldn't find anything. Could find the highway, I could find the river. I couldn't find any buildings below that highway or near that river resembling what she drew. Like the sort of like dirt and construction and a big empty building. I couldn't find nothing like that. So I gave up. Plus, then about 12:30, here after picking up the granddaughter, and then they left about 1:30. Then I thought, right, I'll get back on, come back on. I'm on here like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. When my daughter comes, I just thought I'd pop in and see how you was, Mum, before I go pick up my get Vincent. I'm thinking, am I ever going to get any work done today? No. I think to do any work, I've got to get up at the crack of dawn, wake myself up really quickly, get on here, do all my work I need to do before 12 lunchtime. Because any time after lunchtime onwards, I've got my son coming, my daughter-in-law coming, my daughter coming, everyone coming. I'm thinking, really? So I just want to check something as well. Oh, no. Anyway, but that's what she found. I'm going to take that off. That's, yeah. A little bit more. Wow. I'll just jump a bit rather than speed. I'll just. It's a derelict house. It's literally for. Right, outside. Them are the things they found. So we'll go from here.
Oh, that's just that. But then you got that.
That's weird. So all this is flat right here.
And then all of a sudden that. I thought that was concrete too, but it's not. It's just dirt. Okay, so that's just the whole. Okay. When I first looked at that, I saw black and bulky, and I was about to say it's a bag. Look at that, just crumbling. Okay, we're good there.
That's just crazy. It's flat right here.
But see, in my opinion,
What is it like?
that log has been. Somebody's actually whittled that away. But in my opinion, if being this close to the RV, now especially with the stuff on the wall, her being over here, Katie, would be in this area.
Yeah,
I thought that was a shirt, but it's just green leaves. But you know, well, this is just somebody shaved the bark off.
is that an animal, you think?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like it before. It doesn't look like a log.
But either something's laid down in here or somebody's. Because all this shit built up but this. That's weird. And it was way easier to get back here this time than it was the first time. Isn't it?
Much easier.
Yeah, somebody made a plan for this. Didn't know what was doing that.
Much easier.
How? Come on. Oh. Oh, let's just forward a little bit. Because as I said, it is just, it's the end bit on this. Hold on. We'll watch it from here.
What's up? Are we in trouble?
This is where law enforcement.
Okay, we're coming. Cop cars. Hey, look. What is that? Okay, it's a glove. I thought it was closed.
I knew I would. Have the shit out of them. But he actually was nice. He contacted the owner.
He's the one that approached me.
He said
And I'm
Okay, as you can see in that video, that was a lot. We planned on attacking the house, and actually I think the house attacked us. First of all, let me thank, as well as Christy, for having my back, being there, all three of us having each other's back. I think it was Silver's 2 who got stung first. That was not caught on video.
That happened about the time I had a branch fling back and go inside my ear. Thank you, Christy, for going in my ear with some tweezers and pulling that branch out. Thankfully, that wasn't caught on video either. And when we came back from that, that's when you'll see on video is Christy and I both are getting stung, and then we go on into the house. So, very interesting day. Fortunately, did not find any bones.
It goes on to talk about why the police was there. And it doesn't say keep buffering. I hate it when it buffers. I'm getting tablets there.
Did not find Sebastian, so we were perplexed by the writing on the wall. You can read that, see if you come up with what you think it says. Please let us know. The interesting part, March 30th, 2024, and March 30th, 2024, directly across the street, Katie Proudfoot was in the RV. So some unalive animals, the singing, the branch, just the outlay of the house trying to go upstairs was difficult. You did see we collected 2 pieces of clothing. One, a t-shirt, yellow, that appeared to be child's or, small, medium size, and then some black pants, size 14 with a drawstring. So we came back out, and after we had done for a while, Silver 2 was done, so she decided to stay in the car as Christy and I went back in to go back through the sheds that were out in the back. And you'll see in the video that we were stopped, but we heard someone's voice. I reach in my pocket, see that Silver 2 has tried to call us multiple times, and it was the police, the Horn Lake City Police. Christy and I stopped what we were doing. We come through the brush and all that, and they're standing outside of the house, the back of the house. 3 law officers.
3.
And we started telling them while we were there that we were looking for a missing child, Sebastian Rogers. They had not heard of this. So we showed them the flyer. That got their attention. We then all went back out the house and to my vehicle to join Silver's 2 where she was out there. Of course, they ran my plates. They ran all of our IDs and did all that.
Did you hear what he said? They did not know about him. They showed him the flyer. That got their attention. Bearing in mind, this video was made a while. Because he'd been to that derelict house twice before, but on his own. So he wasn't going to go in or anything. Because if he'd have hurt himself like he got a twig in his ear this time. Now, if that had happened while he'd been on his own, how's he going to get a second twig out of his ear? He's not. He could have fell through a floorboard, anything, something could have fell on him. You know what I mean? So, they didn't know, but Katie went down there with her husband in March, at the end of March, around about 24th, 25th March. If I look on my diaries, go back to my old diaries, calendars. And she told Nancy Grace the reason she went down with him was because he was going back to work, but he just said his job was up in the air. So he had no job. So why was they going back down there? And B, she said, and Sebastian could be anywhere. But neither of them. Oh, God's sake. Hold on. He's moaning. Toby, what are you moaning for? What? What are you moaning for? You want to have a moaner lately? Come up on my lap. Come up here. Come on. I know what you want. Come up on my lap. Bobby, go and lie down. You come up on my lap. Come on. All right, let's get the mic a bit closer so we can go up on my lap. Come on. Come on, my fat lump of lard. Anyway, so she said, and Sebastian could be anywhere. Neither of them, in the time they was down there, right, had got in touch with law enforcement, been to their station, been to their place, wherever, and asked if they knew anything about their son being missing. Not Katie, not Chris. Now, being as Chris was at work, Katie had all day to go and do things like that. Katie had all day to go and put flyers out. But no, she didn't. She sat in that fifth wheel all day watching videos of everyone else, checking Facebook pages and all that crap, yeah, to see what people was putting. Right, now she could have told, because as I said, Silvers had been there twice before, and his car would have been seen by Chris or Katie driving past. Now, if that is an area of interest and an area that they didn't want anyone looking in, they're going to think, what's that car parked there? They could have got his registration number there and then and found out who it belonged to. Because they've got friends in the law department, Ali, haven't they, in Sumner County, who would do a vehicle check. Right? So, as I said, on Silvers never goes live. He always does videos. So, they obviously saw his car parked out there again. So they phoned law enforcement to say, such and such, blah, blah, there's people rummaging about this derelict house. They shouldn't be there, blah, blah, blah. But you're quick enough to phone the police for that. But you don't want to phone the police to let them know that your son is missing and to let them know and give them a flyer. But you're quick enough to phone police on people who are out there, boots on the ground, searching for your son and your stepson. But not quick enough to inform law enforcement about your son being missing. That's what annoys me about that. Is I was quick enough to do all that, but not to let law enforcement know that their son was missing. So that was another reason I played that tonight. That was the reason I wanted to play that. My problem with moving Sebastian around to hide him is in today's age of cams and security, it's not logical to think they risk getting caught on cam with Sebastian. Yes, I did hear someone say once about that. They said the more they move him, the more chance they are of being caught. Right? So that is a risk. But if he was in the house from day one, then I covered about Lyme and what that does, how it hides this decomp. You know what I mean? So, but there was no proper forensics done on that house. They should have had everyone out of that house and gone through that house, through the loft area, on their knees if need be, searching every inch of that house. And they say they had scanners looking for if he was hidden in a wall. Give us a fucking break. A, he was out shopping with you on the Sunday. B, you reported him missing at 6:33 a.m. on the Monday morning. So, from the time you got home at like and from your evening meal at Texas Roadhouse, say 7 p.m. From 7 p.m. to 6:33 a.m., you have to take a wall down, hide him, and put dry whatever it is up again, and paint the wall and everything so that it doesn't look like the wall's being touched. Yeah, right. But they didn't go and check the loft area. They didn't check the crawl space. And don't forget, Katie and her neighbour went in the crawl space. When the neighbour come home from taking her kids to school, she saw Katie outside and she stopped and they went in that crawl space. So then if the police did go in there and they found her footprints in there, oh well, it's because me and my neighbour were looking in the crawl space. They've got that covered. So they should never have been allowed anywhere near that house. Once law enforcement got there at 7:15 or whatever time they got there, that house should have been shut off. The grounds, the area around that house should have been taped off. No one should have been allowed anywhere near that house. Yeah. Exactly, they reported him missing, not dead, was going inside walls. That doesn't make sense to me. They can do all that, but they're not going to take the simple thing as fingerprints on the door lock or the door handles. They're not going to take fingerprints. They're not going to do luminol in any of the rooms, like the bedroom, his bathroom, or anywhere. Yeah, the one she was playing around with while CP was gone. Well, isn't he the one that didn't hang his home security footage into police? I heard there was one neighbour did not hang their footage into the police. Is he the one? But to be honest with you, I don't care if she was having an affair with him. I don't. Don't blame her either. Living with that piece of shit, I don't blame her. But if he had security footage, home security footage, now his house is directly behind there, so they would have asked him, have you got any security footage facing the back of their house? He gave it up to Snap, that's fish. So why didn't you give it up to the police? So, yeah, they could have come out the back way. They did not go out the front way. They could have come through the crawl space, which I believe the entrance to it is in that sun room where that latch was on the floor. Or they've come out the back way. But I don't think they're bringing Sebastian out. Because to carry a child is dead weight as well. Be it alive or not, it's dead weight. Right? I'm not saying Katie isn't able to. But what I'm saying is she's then got to get over a fence with him. She's got to get through trees and bushes and a ditch with him. That's why I think they cut up the side of their fence up to the neighbour's fence at the back, along. That will take them over the ditch area They'd be on the opposite side of the ditch by then. And that's when you're seeing her cutting through. Like, you'd see the light come on and then disappear, and then the light. That was her coming through the trees, because someone said, you see the light coming and going, on and off. That could be her, the trees being in the way of the light. And I think that was her coming through the trees, the bushes. But I don't think she had Sebastian with her. I think Sebastian was in that house and he was up in the loft. Or, if he's not with us now, he could have been in the crawl space. Put lime down over him, bury him under there. The dogs wouldn't pick up the scent because the lime would hold it. Yeah. I understand, Michelle. I think he's in that house. Because they could use the excuse, oh, well, we moved out because there's still YouTubers, we're getting threats, we're getting this, we're getting the neighbours, we're getting angry with everyone coming and going. No one goes there no more. No one's interested in your fortified fucking house. Well, we are. We're interested because we believe your son is in there somewhere. But you won't live in that house no more. I don't think Crackhead is in there. I think he just goes and checks on the house for him. No, but lime. Say they put him in, I don't know, a container. And then covered him with lime. It disguises the scent. What's the name? But the decom scent. I did a video on it months and months and months ago. And I was thinking, guys, if they check my laptop or my phone, feck, I'm going to get locked up for everything going in Scotland. So, if they had lime, had them in a container with lime, it's going to disguise the smell of decom. And decom starts about, depending on the weight and the healthiness, how healthy the person is and the weight of the person, decom can take up to like 24 hours to start. Between 12 and 24 hours. Exactly. There's nothing more we can do. But I'm not dropping this case, because you drop the case. That is what they want us to do. They want every YouTuber to stop talking about this case. Let it just disappear. Just like Sebastian did. Let it just disappear. Let it go away. But I'm not, and I don't think, and Silvers won't let this go. He will not let this go until this child is found one way or the other. He won't be found. I don't know. Because they could now have put him in an area, right? They're not worried about them searching the house now because they've searched the house, right? They just won't live in the house because they know Sebastian's in there, okay? He can't live in that house. And that's why they're not living in there. And the fact that they're going all over the fucking country, I don't care. I really don't care. Just don't come to the UK. Because if I find out you're in the UK, then I will go for you. Okay, Chris, Katie? I'll have your pictures plastered everywhere. So don't even get on a plane to come to the UK. You don't even need to do that. Just get your friends, pay someone a couple of $1,000. And you can jump in a boat and come over and claim asylum. Yeah, you can do that. So they could go anywhere they want. I don't care. What I care about is the fact that their son, her son, his stepson is missing. And they have done feck all to find him. And they have the nerve to sit in these interviews and she'll sit there and say, we won't stop looking. Well, I'm sorry, sweetheart. You've got to feckin' look. Start looking to stop looking. Like Silver's going to turn around one day and say, you know what, I can't do this no more. I've got to stop. Fair enough. He's looked. So he's got the right to say, I'm going to stop. How you can sit there in interview and say you'll never stop looking when you've never feckin' looked. You never handed flyers out when you was down that way. When you first went down back with him to work, even though he had no job. You didn't hang flyers out. You've just sat in that fifth wheel all day long, watching everyone else talk about looking and searching for your son. Well, that's what I said last night. If they was to find his remains, right, and it's going to be skeleton, right? If he's in water, you're not going to find the whole body. You're not. And the only way they can prove red rum is if, say, they find the skull and find trauma to it that isn't natural, or they find an arm that has trauma to it that is not natural. You know what I mean? But otherwise, they won't even be able to prove red rum. But they would be able to prove neglect, because he was in their care when he went missing, while her care. And I still don't, and this is what I'm going to play tomorrow, the Reckoning Code. She talks about what law enforcement is doing. Right, she touches on that subject. So we're going to be listening to that tomorrow. And she stops. She doesn't go any further with that. She goes, no, I'm going to stop there, because they might have information that they don't want getting out to that person then to do their cover up again. You know what I mean? So they may have information, they may be working on this in the background, which we don't know about. But it's not nice to know that law enforcement fecked up from day one. From the first minute they got there, they fecked up, because they believed Katie and Chris when they said he was a runaway. An autistic child would not run away at 15. If they're going to do it, they do it at a younger age, not at 15. So, but I just wanted to show you those 3 videos tonight with Silvers, because the first one proved to everyone, you can't believe a word Chris says. Right? The second one, I had seen that video. I just hadn't written the details down, so I put it down now on my map. And the second one was about a possible sighting, and the fact that the lad was called Sebastian, the fact that he mentioned the name Seth, and the fact that the guy who's with the group of children, there's a woman and a man. The woman had her arm around Sebastian, or another girl had his arm around Sebastian, the lad called Sebastian, and the guy went, Proudfoot. Why that name? Now, bearing in mind, this guy said he didn't even know Sebastian was missing. It was only at a later date that he saw something He went, that's the child that I spoke to in the store. You know what I mean? And that is the problem with the Amber Alert. It wasn't getting around. It wasn't working. Fuck's sake, even Seth didn't get the alert come through on his phone. So that Amber Alert doesn't work properly. And it's just shown that in this case, that the Amber Alert doesn't work properly. Anyway, hang on, what was that? Oh. I believe they are working on it. Just need right evidence to test. Yes. Something was said about, well, we'll listen to it tomorrow, but something was said about like following up on leads or something like that. So it could be, they could be working on it in the background, but nearly 2 years, 3 months, nothing. Why haven't they arrested them and charged them with the neglect? Something must have been going on in the house for these child services to come out to their house, what, 5 times since 2022? Five times? And so something must have been wrong in that house. So why can't they charge them with that? They've got the evidence in front of them for that. It's like those 2 little lads that went missing. You remember? I can't think of their name now. 2 little coloured black lads that went missing just before Christmas, and the foster parents went to prison for it. And they had no body. They still haven't found those 2 little boys. Alright, but they had him for, was it manslaughter? And someone said, why don't they tell us where the bodies are? They're not going to tell you where the bodies are. Because if they do that, then they can be charged with murder, red rum. And that's what gets people so mad. They know where these children are, and yet they don't say nothing because they're getting a lighter sentence. And this is be the case with Sebastian. Even if they took him to court, they've got one chance at this, and one chance only. Right? But I do believe in the UK, on cases where it's red rum, that where they say you can't be charged for the same case. If you're found innocent, you can't be charged with the same case again. Well, in the UK, you can. If it's anything to do with red rum, they can be charged again. So, yeah, well, actually, double jeopardy in the UK, anything to do with red rum, double jeopardy doesn't come into it. Because people is getting some family whose child had been red rummed, and there's angry with the fact that they knew it was him. He admitted to it, but when he went to court, he went back on his, said he was forced to say it, he was all this stuff, and they found him not guilty. But they knew it was him. So after that, they changed the laws where anything to do with red rum, double jeopardy doesn't come into it. Yeah, they've got to make sure they've got all the T's crossed, the I's dotted, everything. They've got to make sure it's so solid that a worm couldn't crawl out of it. Wriggle out of it, you know what I mean? But you see, in Tennessee, they also have this law with no body, no crime. The DAs in Tennessee will not take anyone on charges of red rum or even manslaughter without a body, because without a body, there's no crime. It's a bit like in Australia. I found out. I was watching something about what was this child name? Something Tyrrell. He was a foster care child, right? And his foster parents and him were visiting relatives. And while visiting relatives, this little boy went missing. The foster parents couldn't speak out, and neither could his bio parents speak out. Because the way they look at it in Australia, that if a child is in foster care, they find that could be a stigma for them. Oh, he's a foster child. Ooh, you know what I mean? So they don't like to put a child's picture out there or anything like that. Or the parents' names out there because of the stigma. And because of that, a lot of people thinking, well, how can we help if we don't know his proper name and all this lot and what he looks like? And Australia's law is he could be found, which means when he comes back, he'll still be in foster care. But by then, everyone will know who he is, know he's a foster child, and he'll have that stigma hanging over him. I thought, wow, how are you supposed to find a child if he's gone missing? If you're not allowed to talk, if the parents aren't allowed to talk, or the foster parents aren't allowed to talk. No, they can't. Not in Tennessee. They won't do anything without a body. But as I said, they can. With the charges from DCFS, that's what people are getting mad about now. They can't understand why they've not been charged with anything with that. Five cases. Well, 4 times, one's still open. And yet he said it's because they have to open a case. No, this case was still already open before Sebastian went missing, you dickhead. They didn't close that case and then open it up again, a new one up. This case, this 5th case, is still open from before he went missing. So they could do something on that. I really think they could. And I don't understand why they're not. Because in USA, neglect of a child, minimum for one count of neglect of a child in the US is 5 years. Minimum, I think, or maximum 5 years. Yeah, maximum 5 years, I think, for one count of child neglect. They don't need him to testify. They don't need him to testify. They've got the evidence in front of them. They've got their record. They've got the school counsellor's notes. They've got all that. They could take them to court on that. They don't need a body. Plus, they wouldn't put a child through a court case anyway on neglect. Unless they plead not guilty. Then that's it, because they'd need the child there then if they plead not guilty. Because the child would have to give evidence then. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, everyone, because I've been here, 3 hours. over 3 hours. So I'm going to go. I'm going to leave you all. And I'll be back tomorrow night. As I said, tomorrow night we're listening to the Reckoning Code. Right? Because I've just watched the last two she did. And Sebastian Rogers. True. But would he be willing to give evidence against his mum? That's the thing. Would a child be willing to give evidence against his mum? That's why they've got the CPS reports. They've got the counsellors' reports, school counsellors' reports, and all that lot, so that a child wouldn't have to go up and give evidence against the mother. So anyway, I'm going to leave you all. And if you've got any pictures, Michelle, please send them me. Because I do like to look at them. I do like to show them on here. Okay? I'm open to anything on this channel. A lot of people don't believe in these psychics and mystics and all that lot and spirit boxes. But I'm open to anything. And I like spirit boxes, by the way. And I'm open to anything if it helps us find this child. So please, if you've got any information, anyone, just send it me. I'll look at it first and then I'll put it on here. So thank you to everyone for being here. Michelle, Kylie, everyone. And if you're watching on replay and you've got this far, thank you. So please hit that like button. It does help my channel. Please share. Leave me a comment. Anything you want. It's all free. Not a penny, do I ask. So I will see you on the next one where we're listening to the Reckoning Code again. So until then, good night. Stay safe.
Never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that